Hi, welcome to OBabyNMore Yarny podcast. My name is Ryan Nicole. You can find me on Ravelry as OBabyNMore, or you can find me on my Facebook page as OBabyNMore Handmaids. Thank you so much for joining me on my podcasting adventure. I hope that you like it, and I hope that I like it so that I'll continue to do so. I want to give a shout out to good friend and fellow podcaster, Grace May of Daisy Creations. You can find her on Ravelry as Daisy Creations, and she also has a YouTube channel, Daisy Creations, as well, where she does her podcast. So thank you, Grace, for getting me started with podcasting. She's been asking me to do it for a while now, and I finally did some more thinking about it and talked to my husband, and it's something that I've decided to go ahead and at least give a try. So thank you, Grace. When I had talked to my husband about this, I had came up with 3 ideas, kind of, I guess, themes you could call them. And when I gave him the ideas, he kind of mentioned that it was better to leave it a little vague, but if I wanted to touch on one of those themes, to maybe subtitle that episode with that theme, so that, you know, if I want to be able to touch on other topics, I can, and if I want to be able to touch on one of those 3 topics, then I still have the freedom to do that as well. So that's what I've decided to do, although I had originally thought of budget crochet as being one of the themes, because we are on a pretty tight budget here, so I do a lot of cheaper yarn and a lot of hand-me-down type yarns. I have a lot of Red Heart, and even though I wouldn't say it's my favorite yarn, it is the one that I buy the most often, because it has a great value and it's got more colors than I usually think of, so it works very well. And then to top it off, I have a wool allergy, so yarn is a little difficult for me to find that I can use. Even something that has as little as 8% wool in it is too much for me. So I have to go with cottons or acrylics or something of the like. I have found that other animal fibers so far I've not been allergic to, but anything that has a wool blend in it does stop me from being able to use it. So Red Heart also kind of lends itself to be the ideal choice for me because of that one as well. So I have really I should just say, let's start with what's important, what everybody really wants to hear about. So the first topic I have, I'm going to call it tada, because as anybody that knows me knows that I say it all the time for any random moment, and it's going to be my finished objects. And really, in my world, I don't know about anybody else's, but in my world, tada should be used for every finished object, because every finished object should have a fanfare. So with that in mind, I only have 4 finished objects that I'm going to show you. Even though we're already into April at this point, we've had 4 months in the year, I've given a lot of stuff away, and I've also sold a couple of the things, and I didn't want this to be too overbearing of number of items anyways, so I'm just going to stick with these 4. The first project is actually my own design, and I've made a lot of them, but the only ones that I have to show for it are the ones that you've seen waving around in your face, because I am definitely a hand talker. I don't know sign language, although I would love to know it. I do, however, talk with my hands way more than I should. So the first one is, ta-da! It is my Sweet Joe Mitts pattern. You can find it on my Ravelry shop, which I'll link below. It is a simple fingerless mitt pattern that has worsted weight or Aran weight. this was some random stash yarn that I had in black, and I used black because I wear these pretty much all the time. I'll touch on that a little bit later. But I wanted it to be able to match a lot of what I wear, plus I really like black, so it kind of lends itself to be obvious. Anyway, so it's made with a worsted or an Aran weight. I've made a lot with red hearts already for other people. I have made a couple with Karen Simply Soft, and they've turned out really nice. Those are even softer though. And just a simple H hook. So I have 3 sizes on my pattern, but I'm finding that most people have just had me make the size small, especially if they're right there next to me. They literally can put them on and they're like, oh yeah, these fit great. And so I'm kind of even wondering if I need the other sizes, but for now we'll keep them on there and see how it goes. So that is the first project I have. The last 3 projects I have, ironically, are all hats. And that is not to say that I've been doing hats all year long. It just is to say that these 3 that I have left are hats. They're all test patterns, so I will link any information that I can on those below as well, but one of them is not up just yet, so I'll link it when I find out it's up. But the very first project that I have, the first test, is a test from Eliza. Her Ravelry name is Eliza Craft and Design, and I tested this using Red Heart in the Royal colorway. So ta-da! It is her cornrows hat. It's extremely stretchy. It's a very textured, as you can see, hat. I enjoyed making it. I enjoyed the ease of it. I really enjoyed that it's very stretchy, and it was pretty quick to work up as well. She also has, you can use almost any yarn, and then you use a J, a K, and an L hook. So that would be a 6.0, a 7.0, and an 8.0, I'm pretty sure is what she had them listed as, for the millimeter size. And so it's very, like I said, it's very stretchy. I had actually the other day found some random, well, not random, there were a bunch of leftover yarn balls that I had from things I was working on, and they just kind of got left in the living room. So when I was trying to clean them up and get them put back away, I just kept shoving them inside here, and it kept stretching and stretching and stretching. And I know that's not what the use of it's supposed to be, but it works, so I'm going with it. But even with it being so stretchy, it fits really nice. It goes right back to its original size, so it stays nice and snug up against your head, and it's just a really nice little pattern. So that is Cornrows hat. I don't know if I said that. That's the Cornrows hat by Eliza. The second pattern the second project I have that was also a test hat is from Brianna, and her Ravelry name is Bowtykes, and you can also find her on Facebook as Bowtykes. She had done a faux knit band hat, and as of right now, I did not find that one up on Ravelry just yet, so that is the one that once she gets it posted, I will link that below as well. Until then, I will just link to my project page. So the faux knit band hat I did using a I don't know how to pronounce it, to be honest, but I think it's Natura Wind Tuck. It was worsted weight yarn in black that I probably got from my grandmother. I want to say for 3.5 ounces it cost her $1.45, so it's been around for a while. But it worked for me. And then I also used a mint green, and I'm pretty sure it was red heart, but I don't remember, and I don't know if I had any yarn left, so I can't even go look. So, but ta-da! There is my faux knit band hat, and again, this was a really easy project. It used an H and an I hook. It's used, I'm pretty sure it was just listed as any worsted weight yarn, and it was just an easy and fun project, which gave you the little V's like you usually get for when you're knitting, and I really like that look. So it was a fun hat, it was an easy hat, and I think it turned out beautiful. So ta-da! The third hat that I made as a test, I love this hat. It is by Tammy C. You can find her on both Ravelry and Facebook. On Ravelry she is Thomasina C, and on Facebook it is Thomasina Cummings Designs. I love all of her designs. I don't think there's any that I don't love, but this one is just so stinking cute, and I'm really happy that I got to test it. Her pattern is called Royal Crocodile Crown Hat, and I used Red Heart Super Saver again in coffee and gold. And I used the gold for the crown part, and the coffee, I thought, you know, it would be close to a hair color, so you could wear it and almost make it look like you're just wearing a crown. And I made it for, the size that I tested was for 3 to 11 years, but there's a whole lot of sizes, and there are so many possibilities. My mind started turning real quickly after I finished on what things I could do with it, and I'm really excited about it. So without further ado on that, ta-da! This is the Royal Crocodile Crown hat, and it was a very neat way that she made it, and I don't know, I just really enjoyed this, if you couldn't tell, but I really do enjoy a lot of her patterns, as well as Brianna's actually. So again, this one will be linked down below. It is available, and go check it out. It's really cute and really simple, and don't let the crocodile crown deter you. She has some really good explanations, and she has some really good, I'm pretty sure there was a couple of pictures on there as well that really helped. So don't let that frighten you away. Go try it. It's cute. So with that being said, I'm going to kind of segue into what I'm going to call still going. And I'm calling it that because I have a really bad tendency of wanting to start a new project. So when I have a work in progress, I'm going, oh, it's still going. I just want to start this project right here. Like, this is what I want to do, not this anymore. So it's still going. And the first one that I have that's still going, I'm actually not dreading the fact that it's still going. I am loving it, and I can't wait until it's finished and I can actually show you more. But right now I am designing a shawl, and I'm in a shawl swap with another lady, and I am designing the shawl, and then I will send it to her. But because I have to wait for my yarn to arrive, I had to start designing it so I could at least get the idea out and make sure that it was going to work, since I was going to have to be behind on the fact of waiting for my yarn. So I started working it up, and I can show you part of it, kind of, sort of. I started it up in Bernat's Baby Coordinates Sweet Stripes in the colorway Sailor Stripes. It was something, again, it was a stash yarn that somebody had given to me. I didn't know what I was going to use it to do, and when I needed to come up with something for this, I thought, well, I could use it to start the shawl and get one made, and then when I get the perfect yarn for my partner, I'll just remake it using that. And because I'm using this particular yarn, it's something that I can wear when I'm done with it, so I'll finally have a shawl that I will keep for myself, maybe. I've said that on about 3 different shawls now, and I've given them all away, so hopefully I'll keep this one for myself, because I really do kind of want to keep it. But I can't show you a lot of it, but I can show you that this is the yarn in its ball. Well, I wound it into a cake, obviously, so lots of blue and white, and without being able to show you anything, it is striping fairly well. I wish I could show you, I really do, because I'm loving it, but hopefully next week I will get hers started and maybe finished, and as soon as she receives it, I promise I will show you both of them. So that is so far. That's project 1. The second project is definitely still going. It is one that I actually started about a year ago, and I kind of put it down pretty shortly after I started it, and I'm not really sure why, but I did. So I decided at the beginning of the year that I was going to try to pick up some of my long-term whips, things that I've had, you know, in progress for a really long time, and they are definitely still going. And so the first one that I picked up is, it's a pattern called Hot Blue Shrug. It is, it's by Deanna Young from Yarn Yogi. You can find Yarn Yogi on Craftsy, or you can find, I did not look at what her Ravelry name was on Facebook, but I will link those below. Also link the pattern and her Craftsy site below as well. So, but I am using Hobby Lobby's, I love this yarn, Soft Pink. And for those of you that know me, you already know that I really dislike pink. It's not even on my list of favorite colors because I don't like it. I just don't. But I do, however, have somebody that absolutely loves pink, so I am making it for them. And it's okay that I'm using pink because it was yarn that I was gifted, so it's yarn that I didn't buy anyways, although I'm glad I was gifted it because I do really like Hobby Lobby's I Love This yarn, so I at least get to play with it and use it and squish it and hold it, whatever else. So I'm doing it in a soft pink, and I'm not too far on it. I'm dropping stuff, I think, but it's definitely coming along, and I will continue to work on it some. I think it's made side to side, to be honest, so I think it's made like this. I don't remember. But anyways, this is a free pattern. The other patterns so far that I have shown you have not been free, which is actually kind of abnormal for me. I use a lot of free patterns, but because I was doing tests, they're technically free to me, but they're not going to be free patterns that I know of. So that's kind of why some of the patterns, or some of the projects I've done for this podcast are not free patterns. Sorry about that. But trust me, you will get plenty of free patterns from me because I love free patterns. So, moving on from, I'm sorry, that one uses a J hook, and I don't know if I mentioned that I'm using an I hook on my shawl. So, those are both going along very quickly with the larger hook than what the yarn requires, so that makes it nice. The third project, I know you've been looking at it out of the corner of your eye, pretending that you haven't, is actually, I'm kind of dreading finishing it. And I hate to say that, I really do, because it's for my son. And I absolutely love making stuff for my son. And he basically came to me and said, Mama, can you please make me a Viking hat like Daddy's, please? And that wonderful husband of mine said, yeah, Mama, you should make him one. So what happened was last winter, my husband asked me to make him, we're going to call it a Viking hat. I know there's debate over the horn thing, but we're going to call it a Viking hat for ease. He asked me to make him a Viking hat with the horns and the big long orange beard, so I did kind of begrudgingly, but not completely, because my husband never asks me to make him anything, so I was really kind of excited to make it for him, but I begrudge it because I hate making things that I have to stuff. I just don't do well with it, and so I tend to try to stay away from those things. But my husband asked me, and like I said, he never asks me for anything, so I really wanted to. And then when my son came up to me and asked me, I mean, who can deny a 5-year-old that has just the sweetest little voice and says it so sweetly, please? So I'm making it for him. So my last project that is still going, and unfortunately it really still is going, because I just can't get the motivation. And maybe it's because I did all those other hats, I don't know, but it's probably because of the horns. So the last one is the Scarab inspired Viking hat by Janessa of Creative Excess. You can find her on both Ravelry and Etsy. I did not see what her Ravelry screen name was, and I don't know why I didn't see it, but on Etsy it's Creative Excess, and that's where you can actually purchase the pattern. Yes, it is a pattern that I actually did purchase, no testing on this one, but it was something that my husband really wanted, so we went ahead and splurged a little bit and bought that pattern. I used Red Heart in Heather Gray to do the helmet part, and I am going to be using Red Heart in Aaron to make the horns, and I will be using, this is a stash yarn that probably came from my grandmother as well. It's called Sayel, and it's in the colorway orange. So I will be using that for the beard, and if there's enough of it, I apparently am making 2 beards, because that cute, sweet little 5-year-old, always killer, asked me if he could play with the beard once it was made, and I told him the one had to stay with the hat, so I will try to make him a second beard that he can play with, and really I'm kind of looking forward to that, because I think it's going to be really cute to watch him running around with a beard tied around his head. I'm not going to lie. So that is this project, and this one uses an H and an I hook, and again I will have those linked down below. So if you want that information, it is down there. So after still going would be the obvious that I want to say, because it's why all of these are still going, is can I start yet? Can I start yet? I'm going to call it this section, can I start yet, because it's going to be all of the projects that I want to start next. Which some weeks there's going to be maybe 1, some weeks there might be 4 or 5 things that I'm just really itching to start. The obvious one this week that I want to start next week is, I really cannot wait until I get the yarn, which I hope to get this at the end of this week, to get the yarn to start that shawl and get it going. So that's my next projected project, and I'm really excited about it. Another projected project that I've kind of had a can I start yet several times, I don't even know how many times, and I've yet to do it, so it's just been more of an annoying bug every once in a while, but I really want to make backless slippers. I Again, I'll touch base on that a little bit later, but I like to have my hands and my feet covered almost at all times. So backless slippers is something that I kind of need. Or what? I don't know how you want to call it. But anyways, I really want to start them, and I just haven't found a pattern that I really like. So suggestions are more than welcome. Free best is the best. So those are really my only two projected projects right now that I have, surprisingly enough. So hopefully I can get these whips taken care of, or at least worked on before next week. And hopefully I can definitely start my shawl next week. So we'll see. Next we're going to move into what I'm going to call stitch, rip, stitch, right. And really in all reality, there should probably be like 20 more rips in there, but for shortness sake and to keep it, you know, at least tolerable, we'll just call it stitch, rip, stitch, right, because it is going to be about my designs. I won't always have something to talk about for designs. I may go weeks and weeks without talking about designs, or I may have something every week or every other week. It's kind of up in the air right now. As of right now, I wouldn't expect a whole lot, because in the 2 years that I've been writing patterns, I've published 6. So I really wouldn't expect a whole lot of design talk. Although I do have that one that I am working on, and I do have one more shawl idea that kind of popped into my head at the same time as that one, and I have to say that I'm really excited about both of them, because patterns don't pop into my head. Like, I really have to sit and think about them sometimes. Well, okay, let me rephrase that. All 6 that I've published really took some thought process. The very first project was something that I was trying to come up with a baby shower gift, and I found a pattern that I liked, and then thought, no, I'd really like it better if I could do this instead. So I completely changed the pattern around and made it into what I wanted. And then it took me a good year probably to justify that I actually wrote a pattern and not altered another pattern. And in doing so, I recalculated so many numbers and got sizes certain ways, and so I really did in the end change this pattern completely. I did not use this other pattern as a base at all because of what I ultimately ended up wanting. But it took me a lot of thought and a lot of writing and math, which a lot of people that know me, especially Grace, will tell you that I am a math nerd, kind of, I think. Probably, yeah. So anyways, but each of my other projects after that have been very carefully thought out and very carefully planned, and, you know, ideas scratched and changed and whatever else more times than I can count. And with this shawl, the idea popped into my head. I tried one way, it didn't work the way I thought it was going to. I ripped back, but still wanted the same basic concept, started it again, and I've got it. Like, there's no, I haven't really done any ripping except for when I lose count. And my next project that I have, I pretty much know exactly what I want. There's probably going to be a little bit more ripping out on that one, just because I've never done what I want it to be, so it's going to be interesting. But anyways, you don't want to hear about all of that anymore, I'm sure. So the last thing I'm going to kind of add in here is a section that I'm going to call blah blah blah, because that is something that I say when I feel like I'm rambling on, especially about myself, and I probably say it less often than people think I should, but I use it as either I've lost my train of thought, so blah blah blah, or I use it as a okay, blah blah blah, you don't want to hear about this anymore. So this section is going to be what you may not want to hear about, and so it's gonna be blah blah blah, and you can decide if you want to listen or not. Today, because this is the first podcast, I'm gonna go ahead and kind of give a little bit of background about myself, and that's about it. I think that's all I'm gonna do for this. So I am a 30-year-old Christian stay-at-home mom. I married my high school sweetheart, and we have a beautiful 5-year-old son, well, 5.5. And maybe I'm biased on the beautiful, but I don't think so. My husband on here, I will probably call him hubby, just because that's what I call him a lot. And I don't know, it's just what I call him a lot. So I probably call him hubby most often. And our son, whenever we refer to him online, to try to keep at least a little bit of security around him, we just call him O. It's just a nickname that we've came up for online just to use, so we're not using his real name. A little bit of security anyways, I don't want to put him out there too much. I will go ahead and link to my hubby's and O's YouTube channels. They both actually have one. Sad that I'm the last one here. My hubby has a photography / videography YouTube channel. He does a lot of really neat drone work as well as some other stuff. So I figured that would be, I don't know, I'm just going to link it anyways. If you don't want to look, don't look. And then my son, his is O's Big Adventures, and it's just little things that we're going to do with him just because he saw Daddy's YouTube channel and wanted his own, and he's really cute, so we kind of give him things. It's really bad. Oh, I shouldn't say that. He's not spoiled, but he is in so many ways. So anyways, I am a stay-at-home mom. That is actually a big surprise to me. I'm sure many of you have heard the phrase, if you want to hear God laugh, tell him your plans. And I tell people all the time, God just was rolling in laughter over my plans because, wow. I had originally planned that I was going to be a professional woman. I really wasn't planning on having children. I wasn't really going to worry too much about housework because I was a professional woman and I can hire people for that, right? And yeah, God laughed hysterically at me and gave me an illness that has prevented me from working. I do have a bachelor's of fine art in interior design, but I have what's called POTS. It stands for Postural Orthostatic Tachycardia Syndrome. It is a dysautonomia, which basically means that the autonomic nervous system, the system that does things without you consciously thinking about it, mine doesn't work correctly. It doesn't function properly. So things like your body temperature, it doesn't know how to regulate it, which is one of the reasons why I mentioned the fingerless gloves and the slippers, because my hands and my feet are constantly cold. Usually even when I have a moment where the rest of my body is just sweating and hot and unbearably uncomfortable, my hands and feet are still usually very cold because I do seem to have some poor circulation because of the POTS. Really though, that's not what keeps me from working. What keeps me from working is I pass out. It's progressively gotten worse to the point of I drop probably once a week. Hubby would try to tell you it's at least twice a week, but that's where we don't agree on that number, obviously. I do say that there have been some weeks that it has been more than once, but I would say on average I pass out about once a week. So that's something that you really can't afford to do when you're working, and let's face it, not many employers are going to be too happy with you passing out on them once a week. And once I passed out, I'm very out of it and off kilter. Okay, so employers definitely don't want you to be passing out all the time at work, and once I do pass out, I'm more out of it, and my brain function isn't fully there. I feel off, and I can't really concentrate it for a long while, and I just feel very out of it. So the deal with it though is my blood pressure and my blood flow aren't correct. So my blood pressure just drops, and when it drops too far. It has been progressing over the years. I've had it since high school, but it's progressively gotten worse. It especially started getting even worse after I had my son, and I've had him 5.5 years ago, and it took us almost a year after he was born for us to finally get an actual diagnosis. I'm very thankful for the psychiatrist that referred me to my neurologist, who was relentless in finding the answer. And once he did, he's been relentless in trying to find some help and something to help with the passing out. And now that he has reached his limit, he is officially referring me to an autonomic specialist. So I will be going there May 11th, actually. So that is what's going on with my POTS, and why I am now blessed to be a stay-at-home mom. And I do, although it's so against my original plans, I love it. I enjoy being at home. I enjoy watching him grow. I enjoy being I'm sorry, I enjoy being a stay-at-home mom. I really do. So I'm going to go ahead and close it. I'm starting to feel a little weak and a little off, and I've probably been chatting longer than you would like me to chat. So I am going to end it with my blessings to you. I pray that God shows you his love in some way this week, that you see it in some way, shape, or form, whether it be in an unconditional love of a child, or that you just see a parking spot that opens up at the last minute, and you don't have to be in the rain for 2 seconds longer. Those are little blessings that God is always giving you, and I just pray that you see his love and that you share his love to your family and to others. So thank you, and I hope you enjoy, and I hope you may come back, and I hope that I come back. So God bless.